Hi everyone, this is Paul Lange from DTS, and I want to introduce you to what you're about to watch. This is a 30-minute event. It's called a DTS Impromptu event. It's what I call more than an email, but not enough for a full presentation. I think it's a great presentation though. This was presented live to the free members at Discipline Training Strategies. This is called Lessons from Recent Coaching Sessions. For a couple, 3 weeks prior to this event, I had sent out an invite for people to come meet with me if they wanted to. I'm always open to that, but I sent out a special invitation to the whole group, met with a bunch of people over a couple, 3 weeks. And I was not actually amazed because I've done this before, but I thought it'd be a great presentation to show the incredible similarities amongst people who are trying to learn to trade. To be clear, these are not people that are my seminar students. These are people that have chosen not to be seminar students, but are trying to learn on their own, or they just have questions, or they're just dipping their toes in the water. But I think it's an interesting event, and a lot of lessons can be pulled from it. If you enjoy this, be sure to check out the many other educational events and articles and Trade of the Week videos you can get access to at the DTS Free Stuff page. So for now, sit back and enjoy. Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to tonight's presentation. Tonight is an impromptu event. I didn't do one last month, so it's been a couple months. These are just kind of unscheduled, unplanned. As you know, I send out a fair amount of educational emails. As a matter of fact, whenever I go to put them on the free stuff page, I'm kind of shocked how many I actually do. So a lot of educational articles, and this is kind of that in between where too much to talk about or too hard to communicate the topic in an email. And yet I don't feel it's worthy of a 60-minute DTS event. So it's kind of in the middle there. So this is a 30-minute session. I always warn you that the impromptu sessions may or may not be recorded. I'll either do an email summary or a recording depending on what I think is easier or best when I'm all done. This one is called Lessons from Recent Coaching Sessions, and I think it'll be, I must just like doing these because every time I put one together, when I'm done, I kind of go, wow, this is really good. But I always think people like everything, and a lot of you probably don't like some of this. But anyways, I think it's good. So it's a 30-minute talk. And what it literally was about is that if you saw the email, like over the last couple of weeks, I kind of, well, you're always welcome to, but I kind of invited people to sign up for some coaching sessions, 20-minute session. I just kind of kept some afternoons free the last couple of weeks and ran some people through. And it's just amazing some of the things that come out of it. That's what I want to get to about this tonight. But as I was saying, I always think these presentations I do are great, but it's not what I think of it. The issue is, what do you take away from it? You're all here for some reason, to get to know me better, to learn something, to maybe take a step closer to being able to trade for yourself. Maybe you are trading for yourself and you're doing well and you just want to keep, toned up. You hear what I have to say. But I'm always, doing these to try and help people one way or another. I have the business here, we sell some stuff, big deal. But, I'm out here just trying to help and answer questions and to do whatever I can. I think, most of you, do know, of course, I have a seminar program, I have a trading room, I have a long-term letter. You probably know all that. A lot of people don't know that, which is why I bring it up from time to time. But I'm just here at these events to try and, get across a few points. So let's get going with this because I only have 30 minutes. I do want to hold to that as much as I can. So this is what went out last couple of weeks, says I have some time, blah, 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 blah. So I thought it'd be great to share some of the lessons from these. And it says if you're a profitable trader, do not attend. That doesn't mean if you're here, you're not profitable. It just means I invited you. You didn't have to be here because some of this may be kind of basic stuff, but it really was amazing to me. I do little coaching sessions for people going back to the beginning of DTS. But it was kind of like I did a whole bunch in a row that it kind of struck me as like, wow. So here's some intro comments before we even get going, really. Number one, if you were at a session with me, do not think I'm talking about you. And number one, it wouldn't matter because nobody knows who you are. I wouldn't bring up anybody's name, and even if I did, nobody knows who you are. But even if you're sitting there thinking, oh man, Paul's talking about me, the amazing thing about this is point number two, hey Andy, that it's amazing how people are all so similar. It's at some level, at some basic psychological level. So many times in my whole career when I've been doing this, people would say to me, wow, it's like you read my mind. You know exactly what I'm thinking and what I did wrong. How do you know that? Well, it's not because I know it from you. It's because I know it from, number one, from myself, because I'm no different, and I know it from working with a lot of other people. Everybody does the same thing, to the 95% level. So everybody's in a sense kind of a copy. And when you think about when I send out an invitation to get together with me for a coaching session, it's kind of a skewed survey, if you will. I don't use it for a survey, but to the extent that I'm here saying, hey, look at what we all had in common, it's kind of unfair because these are the people that asked for a coaching session, right? So it kind of eliminates a lot of people who are doing great or some people that gave up. So there's a group of people, but absolutely shockingly amazed. So if you think I'm talking about you, if you were at a session with me, I'm probably not. I'm talking about just the average person I talked to because you all had so much in common. It was just incredible. What's that a picture of? Why did I put that there? Oh, because we all think alike. It's just amazing how psychologically we're all the same at some level. 31 minutes long. Got it? So let's get right to it because this is a quick session, a 30-minute impromptu session. Things that most all had in common. Are you ready for this list? There's 10 things, I think. Put them all out there at once so you can just read them all if you want to. No plan, literally none. And again, these are people who said to get together with me. And you'd think that when they said that it would kind of spark them, oh, gee, I'm going to sit for this guy for 20, 30 minutes. Maybe I should think about what I'm going to say. But it was just like, and it's not even that I asked. I didn't even have to see it. But you'll see when we get to a few of the other later ones here. Just clear and obvious they didn't, right? Why'd you take this trade? You know what's just amazing? I mean, this is not the exact quote from everybody, but you know what the answer was? It looked higher. Can you believe this? I mean, again, please don't even volunteer if you're one of the people I talk to, but for everyone else, that's your plan. It looked higher. It looked higher. But why did it look higher? Crickets. Just not a word. What about this chart? What about this company? Whatever it is you're looking at, I don't even know what you're looking at. Whatever you're looking at, what made it look higher? I don't know. It's just don't know. Many comments about, well, it's a good stock or the economy looks good. So I wanted to be bullish on whatever it was. Again, these are things that like over 80% in common. Day trade, scalp time frame, by far the most popular. Why is that, do you think, everybody? Now, there's a little bit of everything, but clearly the newest person needing the most help, his time frame was scalping. Why? Because it's easy, Andy? Are you saying that tongue in cheek like a joke, or you think it is easy? Because they don't want a big loss? Well, it's easy to not have a big loss, right? You can trade any time frame you want and not have a big loss. Matter of fact, to say that I have a big loss is a little bit concerning to me because you can be trading a daily chart. You can take 10 shares and not have a big loss, right? And big loss is only proportionate to profits, right? Only proportionate to profits. Following the crowd. No, actually, none of you really hit the answer because I know the answer. First of all, I think scalping is perhaps the hardest time frame myself. That's what I think. But the reason I think it's the hardest time frame is exactly the reason why most people want to do it. Yeah, Dan actually has it. Dan, perfect. Yeah, easy to check it out and just say I'm scalping. It's because everybody here has done some kind of trading probably or whatever. What often becomes the number one demon when you're managing a trade? What becomes your number one demon? In the beginning, maybe people don't take a stop. Yeah, I get that. Okay, fine. That's in the beginning. And then you're only an idiot if you keep doing that. But what do people do the rest of their career? Yeah, but what do the emotions have them doing? It's relieving that number one fear. The number one fear in trading is always fear of being a loser. And to eliminate being a loser, it's not losing, Andy. Nobody's afraid of losing. Big difference. People are afraid of being a loser. Yeah. But how do you avoid being a loser? You take little tiny profits. Well, you take little tiny profits. You lock them in as soon as you get them. And that sounds like scalping, right? And I'm not against scalping. I think scalping is just a time frame where you can have a daily chart and swing trade. You can have a 15-minute chart, an hourly chart, a 5-minute chart. You can be on a tick chart. It's all the same thing. But no matter what you do, you have to make a certain amount of money per loss that you're risking, right? And the problem with scalping is we just get into this thing where it's just, bam, 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 small gain, small gain, small loss. Oh, really big loss, right? Because you get sick of taking the small loss. So, and it just goes over and over again. And I think as a survey type of thing, it's indicative that people that are struggling are scalping. Again, I'm not against scalping at all. Actually, when people see me trade, sometimes they think I'm scalping because my entries are scalp-like, but I'm just not trying to sell in 30 seconds or 3 minutes or whatever, right? Yeah, it is, Ned. It is kind of like that, right? It is a little bit like that. You see it, you grab it, you see it, you grab it, you see it, you grab it. Here's a big one. No clue what happened after they exited. No clue. In other words, we're looking at a chart and it was a stop out. They stopped out for a very small loss. And we're looking at the chart and they go, oh, wow, that did pretty good after I got out. And it's one of these things where, literally, I just can't believe how many charts they're like, it's like this, and maybe they got in And they got out. It's just like, 3 minutes later, they got out. And it does this. And I'm like, why did you get out there? Why? Why? What? Show me, tell me, describe. Even after the fact, you don't have it written down, you don't have a plan, you don't have anything. But what were you thinking that you just got out there all of a sudden, right? I don't know, just crickets. I don't know. This is what scares me. It's the reason I'm doing this tonight. Yeah, fear, right? Because they were up pennies, Camilo, and in a few seconds they may be down pennies, and then they're a loser again. But no clue. Wanted to. Another thing was they wanted a scan. In other words, they wanted some kind of help finding things, right? They wanted to know if I could recommend some kind of program software scanner. Why do they want a scanner? I didn't follow a plan I didn't write. Well, then you could argue, look, you followed it. You did what you're supposed to do, which was, I don't know. Why do people want to scan? Why do people want a scan? Yeah, they think there's some holy grail thing. And I've people that asked, I basically told them, hey, I have a couple scans that I have since I don't even use them. I don't care about them. Yeah, well, Andy, it's so they can find good trades, but why? What's the other half of that? So they can find good trades because they don't know what to look for, right? They don't know what to look for. See, this is the theme I'm getting at. It's a shortcut to say, I don't really know what to look for. So, hey, give me a scan and show me the stock that's a good setup. Of course, what are you going to do with a good setup then? It's like the dog that chases the car. All right, I want to scan to find trades. Again, the comment, why did you buy the stock there? If I get a comment, it looked like support. It looked like support. That looked like support. And it's not support. And I say to them, well, what about that is support to you? And they're like, well, there's a bar over there, or there's this over there. There's a nightclub over there, whatever it was. But it's not support. I mean, support is actually a moderately complicated thing. And I want to put complicated in air quotes for the moment because I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Absolutely no follow-up attempt of any, what does that say? Who wrote that? Absolutely no follow-up attempt of any use. Okay, I'll go with that. When I wrote it, it made sense, so it must make sense. Absolutely no follow-up attempt of any use. No follow-up attempt of any kind whatsoever. And what I mean by that is any kind of review. In other words, for the most part, when I was looking at some trades with people, it's the first time they were looking at them themselves. I mean, what are you doing? How do you expect to get better, even if you're doing it on your own? How do you expect to get better when you just take the trades, you don't even know what you're planning on, you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know what you're looking at, and then the only hope you have is to learn by reverse engineering, which really doesn't work, and then you don't even try and do that. You just take a trade, it stops, and you don't ever look at it again. I mean, I don't quite understand how you are attempting to improve. Are you supposed to use it? The only thing you use technical indicators for, Myron, is if you're going to scan. That's what they are for, yes. You say, I'm looking for something above the upper Bollinger Band, or I'm looking for something between two Bollinger Bands. And that will give you a list of stocks. It won't give you a list of trades. It won't give you a list of winning opportunities. It will give you what you asked for. You're saying, Mr. Computer, there's 2,000 stocks that I have here. Would you please find ones that are between blah and blah? And then you'll get a list of 20 stocks, and you can look at those, yeah. Absolutely no follow-up of any kind. Oh, that's there for, I thought the economy looked good. I was a little late on that picture. Sorry about that. Should I go back and start over? I was late on that picture. 517. Number 9, an amazing desire for journaling, meaning like soft comments. Now, journaling, I'm not sure of the definition in trading. I'm huge on follow-up procedures. For me, it's 90% stats. It's numbers. I want numbers that I can average, that I can crunch, that I can synthesize, that I can do something with, right? Writing down in a book at the end of the day, oh, gee, I didn't trade well today, but I had that lasagna last night and I think it upset my stomach. Maybe I shouldn't trade after eating. What do you do with it, even if it's worthwhile? What do you do at the end of the month? You go back and reread them all? How do you synthesize or average out comments? I'm not against it as an additional thing, but I just don't think that it is the thing to do. That's a little bit of a personal opinion, but I don't see the value. I see value in number stats follow-up, if you call that journaling. Well, Loeb said I should do more trades so it's statistically measurable. Yeah, but what are you measuring? What are you measuring? I mean, that's the key is you have to know what it is you're even. if you're going to run some kind of stats, which everybody should do, I mean, stats sounds like such a complicated word, like such a lot of work. It's not. All it is, I mean, you can buy a simple sheet from somebody that's $100, or you can make your own, or you can do it on paper and pencil. But it's just to say, hey, if I'm day trading, for example, how many of the trades that I entered between 9 and 9:45 worked? Between 9:30 and 9:45 worked. How about between 9:45 and 10:30? How many of those worked? How about how many trades that I found by looking at hourly charts worked? How many trades that I found from the scanner worked? Things like that to kind of narrow down. That's what helped me in my career tremendously. And nobody told me to do that, by the way. I just did it because it's just the way I am. I don't see how you wouldn't do that. Another sad thing that just makes me so sad, no one was improving. Now, again, this may be tainted, like I said, because they were there talking to me, right? So I imagine if somebody was out doing great, I think they'd still come. I think the natural inkling for a person who's doing well is to come and try and, ask questions about a couple of things they have problems with. They say, hey, I'm doing pretty good, and just had these questions. I think that would be a common thing, but I didn't see that. I just saw people that were, really kind of lost and struggling. Most resorted to blaming psychology for failure. They had plans to fix that, meaning they had plans to fix their psychological issues. What do you say about that? If you've got the gist of the average person I was talking to, what do you say about my comment, to the answer to the comment, hey, psychology is my big problem? What do you think about that? Anybody who's listened to me, even the last 6 months or so, should know the answer to that question, because this is a big topic for me. Write a trading plan and use it? Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. That is a great answer to psychological issues, right? But there's a step even before that. There's a step before that to get better results. You want these? Yeah, Lope actually has the answer, right? Well, I don't like indicators, Myron, because I don't think you should be using indicators per se. But my big answer to this, and I did a whole presentation on this, so I thought some of you would know. I think it was called, or maybe it's an article, I don't even know anymore when I write articles or do presentations, but it was called, "You don't have the right to blame psychology." Does anybody remember that phrase? That's my phrase. Anybody remember that? You don't have the right to blame psychology. Yeah. And what that means simply is that if you don't know what you're doing, there's no psychology involved. See, psychology is when you know what you're doing to some degree, and you can't get yourself to do it. Let me repeat that. Psychological problems are, okay, I know what to do, and at the end of the day, I look back and I go, man, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to hang on to that trade till lunch. I was supposed to hang on using 5-minute pivots. I didn't do it. I didn't do it again. I didn't do it again. Okay, you know what? I'm looking at your trades. You take some decent trades, and you're not making money. You have a psychological problem. But when you're just out there, no clue what you're doing, sorry to say that a lot, but that's what a lot of this was. How can you blame psychology, right? It's not a matter of you not doing what you're supposed to do. You don't know what to do. That's education. That's knowledge. It's not psychology. You may develop psychological problems. Actually, Art, it's a longer, maybe that's an old one for me, but the solution to psychological issues is a well-laid trading plan when accompanied by confidence, which is achieved through success at low-risk trades. I botched that a little bit, but that's the other addition to it, yeah. Did everybody get that the first step before you can even address psychology? But no, you had it great. Thank you, Art. The first step before you can address psychology is you have to know what you're doing. And when you think about it, it's just such common sense, but I hear this so many times. All right, let's move on. So what is wrong with trying? So you come back to me and say, all right, Paul, yeah, I'm a little lost, I'm a little clueless, I don't really have time or the money, or I don't want to take any education, whatever it is, but I'm out there trying. What's wrong with that? Well, maybe nothing. If you're doing it the right way and doing the right thing, number one, if you're paper trading, if you want to get some experience, if you want to get your toes wet, you want to see what trading is about, you want to see if it's for you, and if you do think it's for you, if you're measurably, systematically improving somehow, if you're tracking and saying, hey, I've eliminated some things, there may be nothing wrong with trying. So I'm not necessarily putting it down. But I want you to be very aware, because I think 90% of the people are not in this category. I think they're in this category. There may be a lot wrong with trying. Number one, you should never be trading real money, none at the level that I was seeing, and regardless, not until profitable. The simplest thing is that you just start off paper trading and simply prove to yourself you can make money on paper, and then risk the smallest amount of money, $5 or $10, and that's it. Because it's not even a matter, I don't care if you have $1 million that you're willing to blow learning to trade. I don't care. You won't learn when you have money at risk when you're learning because your brain shuts down. I don't care if you have $1 million account, you're going to freak out about losing 10 bucks because you're a loser. So you just have to start off very small and get confidence and learn what you're doing first. So I don't want to see anybody ever losing money that's untrained or doesn't know what they're doing. And then number two, even if you're on paper, how about your time? Now, yes, maybe it's a well-spent time if you're learning something and you're achieving your goal. But I got to tell you, I'm going to say everybody that I saw and everybody I've talked to in the recent past I can remember, they're not achieving their goal. And then that becomes a drag because you're wasting your time. And that leads to number three to me, which is the most important. It's what I see all the time, is that you lose confidence and your belief that it can be done because you think it's too hard to kind of be done. So what happens is, and I've seen this all the time. I told you the story where I had 50, 60 people in a little folder, a file. There are people over 7 years that had just contacted me about, they're trying to learn on their own, and they sent me some stuff or asked me some questions. And I followed up with them at one point, and nobody had made it. And there were about a dozen people I thought were really doing okay. Like, they'd ask me smart questions, and I'd have to give them an answer. It's almost kind of like a seminar-like answer, because it was that good of a question. Nobody made it. And what bothers me then is they may be done forever trying to learn to trade because they think it can't be done. They think technical analysis stinks, but they never learn technical analysis, right? They're just out there saying, oh, it looks higher to me, and oh, yeah, these charts don't work. Oh, it didn't hold support. And they're not on support. They don't know that, but it didn't hold support. Technical analysis doesn't work. So you lose all that because you're just doing the wrong stuff. And if you do continue, you're likely learning bad habits that become hard to break. And believe me, that's one of the hardest things for me when I am training somebody is to get them over bad habits. Quick little thing here. A guy emailed me. He'd been around. He'd been around about a year. He took a trial in the trading room a year ago. Apparently read a lot of free stuff, did a lot of stuff. And the title of, he emailed me and he said, Paul, I'm unsubscribing from you. I'm not going to listen to any more of your free stuff because you sent out an email and the title was that trading was simple. If you think trading is simple, I don't want to listen to you. So first of all, what do you think this person's going through? I know because I've been doing this for so many years. I know exactly where he was, but what do you think that person's going through? The person that says, after I recognize his name. He's been in a lot of presentations. He's emailing me, but I don't know anything about him. No. They said, Paul, if you think trading is simple, I don't want to listen to you anymore. What's his story? Andy he'd been through some tough times, right? Probably not put it right. He was failing. He probably just had a bad day. Like most people who go to trade, he probably is a smart guy and has good money and made good money, and he couldn't figure it out. And therefore, for me to call it simple offended him. What was kind of funny was he actually said to me, based on the title of your email, I don't want to listen to you anymore. But what was funny was he should have read the email. Because, I don't know, some of you, it was about a month ago I sent this out. He should have read the email because what the email actually said in the body of it was basically is that I have been accused of making trading sound too hard. Because when I talk, I do these presentations, I talk about stuff, and I've had people say to me, you really know what you're doing, but I could never duplicate that. And I try to get across to people, you don't need to know anything like I do. So the body of the email basically said, hey, I have spent a good part of my career just warning people not to fall for the snake oil, the slime, the scammy stuff, the people that'll teach you to trade in 3 hours and watch this one video. And I probably have overdone that to the point that people think, wow, nobody can do this. And I just want to come back and say, hey, it's not really hard. Nothing good is simple. So it's not simple. It's the hardest thing to define trading, but I do have, I think, a perfect example, a great analogy right there. Yeah, that's true, Camille. But think of this analogy. I've used this before, so some of you maybe heard it. Is learning a second language hard, everybody? Is it hard? I mean, Ned, there are 3-year-old kids that speak 2 languages all over the place. All over. If a 3-year-old can learn 2 languages, it can't be hard, right? There are people that know 7 languages. How hard can it be? So I get it. For an adult, it's kind of hard, but the point is a 3-year-old can do it. There you go, Jack. He speaks 6 languages, right? But think about it, right? How many people know a 3-year-old that speaks 2 languages? Right? All of you do, probably, right? Anybody that's here from another country, their kids speak 2 languages. Guaranteed. Just guaranteed. The other thing I say about trading is that it does not require any intelligence above a fifth grader, correct? You can't tell me that it does. And I don't ever mean that to be insulting to anybody who's struggling, but correct somebody. It does not require the intelligence of anything above a fifth grade level. At least the way I teach it does. I mean, for everything I'm talking about, it's really not rocket science at all. But I understand it's tough. A lot of it, though, is, between your ears. And a lot of it is just simply buckling down to learn what you need to learn if you really want to do it. It's a difficult process on your own. What comes next here? Trading is not what most think. It's not about fundamental research. It's not about understanding the economy. It's not about needing fancy software scanners and indicator. People, listen to this line. There's a new way to phrase this for me. I haven't said this before. People with billions of dollars have done all of the above, and they've made up their mind, right? I'm buying Tesla. I have $1 billion and I'm buying Tesla. You know what? This other firm's buying it too. We're going to be fighting over it. You look up Tesla and say, I think electric cars are not going to make it. So I'm shorting Tesla. I mean, what is the matter with you? It is such just a common sense thing to understand that you don't need to, you don't want to, you should not look at fundamentals, economy, any of that stuff. The economy. Want to look at the economy? The last two big crashes we had came in the midst of a beautiful economy. So what good is it for you to understand the economy? What you need to understand is charts. That's what you need to understand. The way you view trading, and I've said this before to some of your surprises, it is in essence a video game. You're looking at your charts and you're understanding that those charts incorporate what everyone out there with big money is doing. Now, it's not always clear to read. And what do I do when I see a chart that's confusing? What do I do? One four-letter word would do it. What do I do? Yeah, skip it, next, 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 next. What a lot of people don't understand is it's not that we're trying to pick up any chart and make something out of it. We're trying to look for those charts where somebody has stepped up and said, I can't hide it anymore. I'm selling this thing. I'm buying this thing. And I just want to show you just one example. I was going to do this presentation Tuesday, as most of you know, because I sent an email out that had Tuesday, the 26th on it. I didn't change the Tuesday. So this is the trade for Monday. I'm not here to show off a trade. I just want you to understand something. Okay? This is Lyft, and this was how the charts looked over the weekend. Okay? So I see these two charts together. Here's a daily chart, and here's a 15-minute chart. Right? You like to look at those charts, Dan? Dan knows how to trade. You like to look at those charts? Lovely. Now, what's the name of this strategy? Well, actually, this does kind of have a name, but one of the points I like to bring up is I don't care what the name is. It's not the name. It's reading a chart and saying, look, here's that time frame. What do I need to see? Here's this time. What do I need to see? And you know what? People are going to be selling this thing. And if we get under this little gray line, we're going to be selling it. And when I went to do lift this, well, that's what the daily and 15-minute chart, when I was scanning, that's what I saw scanning. And that made my heart go pitter patter. I saved it for Monday. And then after Monday, it looked like this. I just want to show you afterwards. 15-minute chart is a time frame of reference, TFOR, a DTS breakdown play. Daily chart supports it. So here's what they look like afterwards. And I'm just capturing this 30-minute drop here. That's all I'm trying to do is a day trade for this particular thing. I like long-term trading too. This is a day trade. But then here's the 5-minute chart, entry, target, target. But here's the thing I want to ask you all. When I went to do Lyft that day, or I found Lyft over the weekend, did I Google Lyft to see what industry they're in? Anybody? Get your hands on the N key and keep hitting it here. Did I Google Lyft? No. Did I look up the industry that it's in? No. Did I look up the earnings that they did last quarter? Did I look up the earnings projected this quarter? Did I look at the analyst recommendation for what they're going to be doing? Did I listen over the news to what the president was saying or what the economy is going on? Did I listen to any of that stuff? Tea leaves would be a lot better than listening to any other stuff, because at least tea leaves, it's not really worth anything, but some people think other stuff is. Yeah, so at least you're looking at nothing, right? So people look at fundamentals and stuff and think it's something. So, and by the way, some of you may be saying, oh yeah, I get it for a day trade, it doesn't matter. No, this is how I do my long-term trading too. It doesn't matter if this is a weekly chart, a monthly chart. Trading is analyzing the battle between the bulls and the bears across the 4 time frames that matter for whatever one time frame you're taking. Who has to buy, who wants to buy, who has to sell, who has to sell. And when you see a clear indication of what's happening, then it comes. I was going to put that 3-legged stool in here, but it's superior understanding of charts, some math and probabilities, confidence, and psychology. You ought to join the trading room, Ned, because we have two other comedians in there that are always battling for silly jokes like that. So behind the 5 minute, there's a 1 minute chart. Now again, I'm not scalping really, but to get my entries, I come down to a 1 minute chart or even below that because you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to sneak in here because you can see it goes kind of quick. Now, not all my trades are first thing in the morning. This one was, and I know that if this worked, it was going to go pretty quick. So you don't have all day to sit around and go get your coffee at 9:35. So this gave a beautiful entry in here and just dropped, and a quick target there because that's already the day's goal, and then I got well over the day's goal down there. Nice, easy to trade stock lift, blah, blah, blah. And this is my whole point. That's what trading is. And I could sit here and explain everything about all four charts for an hour about why I like it, what it is, not for an hour, but I mean, you get the point. It's not that, oh, I think it looks low or just, I don't know why, it just does. So you have to learn these specific things, and it really involves four time frames. I had somebody yell at me because I said something, they were on a 2 minute chart or whatever, and I said that the daily chart doesn't support this. They got all mad at me. I'm not trading a daily chart. I'm trading a 2 minute chart. Where do you think the big money comes from? Do you think the big money's out there scalping? I mean, even to the extent that there's the algos running whatever, they're not moving things. They're just jostling things around. I mean, when something has a big move, it's coming from big money, which is originating in a higher time frame. So you can't, you don't want to be, and there's a limit. I mean, obviously, yes, you can go along a 2 minute chart if the weekly's in a downtrend, and sometimes if the daily's in the downtrend, but it's a very specific art you have to understand about what you need to see to get the both best odds that you can. Because you know what? Cover your ears. If you're really on the fence about wanting to learn to trade or not, cover your ears for a minute, okay? You ready? Got them covered? Because even at its best, trading does not have great odds. You shocked to hear me say that? I always liken it to a casino kind of. And the point of it is though, the odds are fine as long as you do everything right. But you start getting sloppy or you start taking your 13th pick of the day instead of your third pick of the day, you're going to start getting in trouble very, very quickly. So what's the answer? You know what the answer I told most people? And then we're done. I ran over. I just couldn't help it. I just loved the presentation. No, that wasn't even really my answer. Because 3 trades a day, all that does is just slow down a disgusting process. Well, discipline's not the answer, Art, because most people didn't know what to have discipline in. Buy and hold, you'll go broke. When we eliminate 80% of trades, we wing odds in our favor. Yeah, except the only thing I would change, Jack, is you got to eliminate 95% of the trades. Follow your plan. They don't have a plan, Ned. There's nothing to follow. Well, the thing is, Myron, most of these people, I mean, they're trying to learn to read charts on their own. And by the way, out of all these people I get together, it's like if you're thinking I do this so I can get people to sign up for something, I don't usually suggest it. Occasionally I do, but virtually nobody ever does from these coaching sessions. The people that want to take my seminar program, they know from the start they want to do it. Most people who go down this rabbit hole of trying to learn for themselves, they never recover. I never see them again. My honest answer, most of the time I said, just stop. Just stop. Unless you can tell me you have a distinct purpose and you're tracking what you're doing and you have a method of improvement and unless you're doing all the things a good trader should be doing, I understand maybe you're not a good trader, but you still have to have the structure of a good trader. And if you're just out there every day doing trades you don't know or understand and then not even looking at them when you're done, you have less than zero chance of success. So just stop because you're just demoralizing yourself from the possible future event of maybe really learning when the time is right for you. Surprised to hear me say that, aren't you? But that's what's best for some people. Structure. I'm all about structure, Andy. Structure is everything. Structure is everything. Well, probably in life to some degree, but certainly in trading, structure is everything. Questions, anybody? I'm going to keep bugging you about your long-term positions with some emails. Signing up for the long-term trader is a good idea for a lot of you. More to do with DTS on the website. There is a page for podcasts, and the recent educational articles are all there if you've never been there. I'm waiting for questions. I'm just going over this, so I'm waiting for questions. When I'm saying that it's a tough struggle if you're out there learning on your own. Now, I don't want to be a demoralist here. I mean, for some of you, go out there and play, look around, maybe some of you will decide to sign up for a seminar program at some point, but I just got to tell you, when people start really trying to learn on their own, they kind of disappear. They just kind of do. Structure cost $6,977. Good session. Thanks, Camilo. Follow-up was painful, but it's got. Yeah, you're right, Dan. Yeah. People like to follow up after a good day, right? Gloat over their trades. But when it's a bad day, you just kind of, go out to your local restaurant or bar and say, well, let's just try again tomorrow. Maybe I'll fix it. Doesn't journaling address number 5? Well, yes. The word journaling a little bit, Myron, to me is ambiguous because I'm not sure how we're using it. Follow up to your trades statistically would do that. And yes, I guess journaling, it depends what you include in journaling. The point is you need to go back and review your trades. And then somehow that has to benefit you going forward, Myron. Okay? That's the point of it. So yes, if you can just look, and then when you see you did something wrong, you take a 2x4 and hit yourself in the side of the head. If that works for you, that's great. If Robert were here from the room, he'd have a great joke for you in there. I can't think of it quick enough, but he's good at coming up with those puns. Yeah, Dan, there's the 2x4 on the desk, and there's also the mouse traps. Mouse traps where you got to get that piece of cheese out with your little finger and you're not fast enough. That works well too. Yeah. Mouse traps in other places. All kinds of things can work good, yeah. All right, can I leave now? We're seminar students tomorrow night. We have a PARD, and then for the rest of you, next week will be our regular presentation, next week, Wednesday. See you, everybody. Have a great evening. See you in the room if you're trading with me tomorrow. Have a great rest of the week for the rest of you.